This is TWiT.
Hey, buddy, are you a geek? Are you a tech enthusiast? Then I would love to invite you to join a tech community like no other. You can gain exclusive access to our incomparable quality tech content for just $7 a month with Club TWiT. As a member, you'll enjoy all TWiT TV shows ad-free, plus access private video feeds for insider shows like iOS Today, Home Theater Geeks, and so much more. Dive into the members-only TWiT Plus bonus feed for behind-the-scenes content, club discussions, and special events. But here's the best perk. Join our incredible Discord community to watch live show productions, chat with hosts, and participate in exclusive members-only activities. It's your backstage pass to the world of TWiT. Whether you're a tech enthusiast or a lifelong learner, Club TWiT elevates your knowledge while entertaining your interests. Get 2 weeks free when you sign up now for $7 a month and unlock unparalleled access at twit.tv/clubtwit. That's twit.tv/clubtwit. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you and welcome to the club. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another lovely Club TWiT adventure, our monthly visit with this guy right here, our photo guy, Chris Marquardt. Hello, Chris.
Hello. How's everyone doing?
Moin moin, I guess I should say, to be
you have to be
correct.
at a certain elevation. No, at a certain northernness in Germany to say.
Oh, is
moin,
that true?
moin. It doesn't.
Oh, they
does
say in
not work.
Hamburg, but not in Munich.
They do know in Munich. People will know it, but they won't really.
They say Prost.
It's in Munich they don't know the protocol because you say moin and then the answer is moin moin.
Oh, I say moin, you say moin moin.
But
Does it mean anything?
Yeah, it's from the old German Moin Tag, I think, which means a good day to you.
Oh, moin Tag. Well,
So
you've now had your German lesson for the day.
there we go.
You would never know that Chris Marquardt is in Germany at the Viewfinder Villa. You would never know that he is a native German speaker because his English is perfection. And I've known him for 15, almost 20 years. We've been talking.
Almost 20.
Photography.
2006.
It's incredible. It's incredible. We'll have to have a party next year. We're doing something new this photo time thing. By the way, yes, every month. Yes, there will be a new assignment every month, but there'll also be photography news and a Q&A. And you can see at the bottom of your screen, if you go tfttf.com/PTQ.
Photo time questions.
Oh, photo time
PTQ.
questions, PTQ. So ask your questions, PDQ at PTQ. Okay. Yeah. That's like moin moin.
This is such a bad link.
tfttf.com/PTQ. Let's start with the photo assignment, shall we, Chris? And then we'll get to news and questions
Yes.
in the
let's
show.
do that.
So where do you want to begin? Should we go first to Flickr and show the submissions? I'm disappointed in the Tech Guy group. Only, what is that, 9 submissions? But
yeah.
maybe Luminous was too difficult for people. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think that's it. It's just, I mean, it's a once a month thing. We don't have a repeated reminder of things. So I think it would be better if people just put that in their calendar. They know when it's coming up and then they don't forget about it. And submit a picture.
Or if you were to take pictures every week, every day, you can submit one a week. You wouldn't even have to worry about that, right?
And that'll definitely also increase your chances of a photo being reviewed here.
So let's get some photos under review. You have sent me the 3 that you like.
Yep, in that order, I've chosen 3 pictures. The first one by Larry Albower, Palm Passage, and
again, this is illustrating the word luminous.
Luminous, yes.
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah.
What Larry did, and he put it even in his description, ICM, intentional camera movement. It's a term.
In other words, don't
Camera
think
shake.
this was an accident. Yes. This wasn't an accident.
There's this entire genre of intentionally moving your camera while you take a bit of a longer exposure. You will see camera tossing, for example, falls under that, where people will like throw the camera in the air with the self timer on just before it takes the picture, and then they catch it again.
That's very funny.
Or you could also like zoom in to lights during a 1/10 of a second exposure or something, and you get interesting effects. And this is an up and down movement.
I'll never forget some years ago, I went on a photo safari to Tasmania with my good friend Mikkel Oland, who's a very accomplished photographer, and a bunch of other pro photos. And I came upon Mikkel one day standing, pointing his camera and taking the picture and zooming the lens as he was doing it. And he kept doing it over and over because it's hard to get it just right.
You have to be you have to do a bit of buckshot. Take.
And I said, "What the hell are you doing?" He explained he was doing,
or as we call it, spray and pray.
Spray and pray. Of course, with digital, it's a little easier because you can see.
Yes.
So this looks like palm trees with lights wrapped around the trunk, and maybe he zoomed.
I think it just moved the camera up and down. You see on the left and right, you see these little vertical light strips, so that gives you a bit of an idea of the motion there.
It's fun.
It's a fun technique, and especially it brings you out of your comfort zone, because we if you try this with a smartphone today, it's going to be hard to achieve something like that, because they will do everything to give you a perfect photo.
You want a steady. That's the real reason to use a camera as opposed to a smartphone, is because smartphones are too smart sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there are apps that allow you to do these kind of things, but the default apps, the built-in apps, they make it really hard for you to get camera shake or bad exposures and things like that. So that's Larry and his ICM. nice ICM. Anti-M. Okay. So
number
second photo
2
by Ron Hikes 816, Central Park, New York City. And it's
it's
taken in the Bethesda, what is it called?
Bandshell? I don't know what this is.
Passage, whatever. If you've been there, in this park, there's this structure, this building, and you can go inside, and there are tiles on the ceiling and on the bottom, I've been shooting there with a group years ago, and it's just, the light is so nice. You can do all these silhouette shots and have these beautiful reflections, and Ron did that, and it's a black and white photo, and a person posing in front of the fountain.
And I'm going to zoom in because the pose is kind of designed to work with the fountain. It also looks like he might be off the ground a little bit. So maybe he's jumping.
Possible, but then the columns also look like they're off the ground. So
they do.
Possibly
so it's just a reflection, huh?
Just an artifact of the way the reflections work. Just one little niggly bit of feedback. Straighten it, please.
Oh, it is a little off kilter. Maybe and crop a little bit too is more interesting. A little bit cropped in a little bit. But anyway, I kind of like the longer reflections. Totality,
and what you see. It's a vertical photo, so the black that you see next to it is not part of the picture.
Right.
And especially the reflection in the tiles at the ceiling, they are gorgeous.
Isn't that cool? This is where I have trouble on straightening, and I bet you he did too, because what do you straighten on? You're going to have, because of, I don't know, a little distortion or perspective, you're going to have odd angles on somewhere.
So in general, with architecture, you want to try straightening so the verticals in the buildings are.
So you'd straighten on the columns?
I would probably do that.
See, I might have straightened on the floor line there, but
that would probably end up being the same, because it's a straight on photo. It's not from the side, so that should work.
Right.
And
I love it also that it's monochrome. I'm a fan of monochrome.
And many of the apps, if you have the screen where you straighten things, there's an auto button, and nowadays most of these apps will just figure out where the horizon is
Really?
and just straighten it for you. Yeah.
Wow. Of course, your camera also had those lines. He obviously ignored them.
And Brett in the chat, Lightroom is also a good option for straightening because the auto correction in Lightroom is really good.
Yeah.
Has been for years.
Yeah. Very nice.
Third photo, Ms. D, winter sunrise. And that's a photo that you can feel, you can smell, you can, like, you put yourself in the photo, you know exactly what it feels like, you instantly recognize the crispness of the air, and it's a winter day, it's the sun. I love how the sun peeks out behind the bigger branch there. The light, the shadows. It's one of those photos. I get a shiver when I see that because it's cool.
Snow, yeah.
So emotion comes straight through in this photo. The feeling of the winter morning there.
Love it.
Works really well for me.
Yeah.
A very simple photo, but hey, and the composition, the what is it? It's not a bush, it's not a tree. It's a tree, isn't it?
It's a tree, but it's
strange
in a weird way. Yeah. Yeah. It's a winter tree.
So that V-shaped tree is a bit different from some other plants.
Yeah.
It's clearly the center of focus. It's also centered in the photo. So yeah.
I love that. You could say, is it a bush? Is it a tree? What the hell is it?
Yeah, it's kind of an in-between thing there. So that works for me. Really
It's not a bad thing, really, to have a picture that makes you wonder, right?
Well, it makes you wonder, or makes you instantly remember the same situation you've been in, being outside. Maybe you walk the dog or something in the morning, and or you go to work or whatever, and the cold air, the cold, dry air. That's the feeling I have when I look at that.
It is. This is a feeling picture. Thank you, Ms.
Totally is.
Ms. Feeling Picture. Very. What's her? What? I want to give her credit again. Ms. D. She's submitted photos before, I believe. Yes.
Oh, definitely.
I think that name is familiar. Yeah. No EXIF, so we can't tell how she took it. I like the EXIF in there, but that's okay.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
No.
I mean, this
doesn't matter. No.
And this is the kind of photo that doesn't even need anything special in the camera. It's any smartphone will do.
Yeah, actually, we've talked before how hard it is to take pictures with snow because sometimes cameras overcompensate for the white and it ends up too gray.
Yeah. Well, this picture has a lot of other brightness levels in it, especially the trees and the houses and everything. So,
Ms. D's in our
helps,
chat, she says, that's an iPhone 16 Pro Max.
There you go.
Thank you, Ms. D. Nice to see you.
And if you take pictures of snow that have like mostly snow in them, then there's a good chance that your pictures turn out gray. But a lot of the newer cameras will do something like subject identification. They will know it's snow, and then they will know how to handle it.
Yeah,
so
right. That might have been harder with a
exposure setting in the camera is not just a game of how bright things are in the photo anymore.
Right.
There's so much smarts going into.
It's funny before in the early days of our conversations when we talked about taking pictures with cameras. We often did talk about the difficulty of snow. I guess that's not an issue anymore.
I mean, the thing is, over the last 20 years, a lot of things have, a lot of the skill that you had to have in photography has become obsolete, not that necessary anymore. I mean, you still are better off if you know about exposure and how to influence it, because then you can bring your ideas to life better and easier. But most of these high skilled things cameras do so well these days. So, which is nice, because then people can concentrate on the art side of photography. That's a really important thing. And in the old days, people had to become skillful in something to become good at it, and not just the craft side, but the idea and the vision and
and that's still there. You still have to have the idea, the vision, the composition.
But now you can concentrate on this. Now you're not so distracted by figuring out how to expose that picture and which button to press on the camera. That is all getting easier, and I think that's a good thing.
Well done to Larry and Ron and Ms. D, and thank you to everyone. There were actually, it was hard to choose. There were a lot of nice pictures in here. So thank you for your submissions. But now you know what this means.
Should we pull another one up from
Time to go to the fishbowl. By the way, just hold that up again. I love the reflection of your light in the fishbowl because you have one of those grids on the light, and it makes a very interesting reflection. All right, we have selected a fortune cookie, and the word is...
If it focuses...
Bold.
Doesn't matter. Bold is the word.
It's like an eye chart. Bold
is the word.
Okay.
I should print bigger ones. Bold.
Bold is the word. So the way this works, just so you know, is we want you to go out and take lots of pictures. This is the whole point of it. It's not really a competition. It's just an incentive to do some photography. If you find one that illustrates the word or concept bold, and as you can see, that's a very vague concept, so it could be a whole lot of things, upload it to Flickr. Flickr is the photo sharing site we've been using since the very beginning, since 2007. It's free, which is nice, although many of us have pro accounts. I saw Miss D does. There's a picture submitted to the group pool. So upload it there, tag it with TG Bold for Tech Guy Bold, and then submit it to the Tech Guy group. And the Tech Guy group, you just search for groups. You can tell it's the right one because it has a picture of my smiling face. Should really have yours, Chris. And 14,000 members. Renee Silverman is our wonderful moderator. That's also a place you can go to find out when the next episode is, because Chris always puts that up as soon as we've determined the date.
That gives you the next episode. That gives you the links to watch it live. That gives you the link to the Q&A, submittal, and so on.
So again, Flickr.com, submit it, tag it. In this case, TG Bold, then submit it to the Tech Guy group. Renee Silverman will thank you. It'll be in the group. You can do up to one photo a week. We usually go around 4 weeks, so that gives you 4 different photos to submit. And please, everybody participate. You know what? Maybe it's my fault because I have been recusing myself. I'm going to get competitive, and I'm going to take some bold pictures and put them up there this time. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. We're going to the next week to the Tucson Rock and Mineral Show, which is the biggest gem show of the year.
That's a photo op. Just going somewhere where interesting things happen, unusual things happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there'll be anything bold, but maybe it would have been better for Luminous, but we'll find something.
If that's a rock show, there will be boulders.
Boulders could be bold. See,
there
I told you his English is really good. He just made it.
I love language.
Bold rocks. Thank you, Anthony. Bold rocks. It's not, as Eric says, as quoting David Letterman, it's not a competition. It's only an exhibition. Please, no wagering. But do participate, and I will. I'll do it this year. I'm going to take my M11 with my f.95 lens and play with it, because it's really fun to play with it. And then now I have to learn with a rangefinder that I have to shoot with one eye free. That's going to be tricky. We'll see.
It just takes a bit of practice, and leave both eyes open if you can.
Oh, you're asking an awful lot. Oh, I swear. All right, let's talk some news. Shall we?
Yes, some news.
Yeah.
Cloudflare.
Yeah.
Cloudflare runs or doesn't run, but about 20% of the internet goes through Cloudflare's content delivery network. And there's the Content Authenticity Initiative, CAI.
We've talked about that before.
Yes, that's the guys who make content credentials, which are a method to help mark photos as this has been taken by a camera, or this has been made by an AI, or this has been modified by an AI, this has been mangled with in some this or that way, just to help increase or restore the trust in photography.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're quickly getting to a point where photography is going to be always questioned, because is that a photo? Is that fake? Is that real?
Right.
Has that really happened? And content credentials consists of algorithms that go into software, like Photoshop will add cryptographically signed records to the metadata of a photo to tell you what has happened with the photo.
There are also more cameras now that will stamp the photo. The Leica that I was talking about, the M11, I got the P version of that, which does, in fact, one of the reasons I did is because I wanted to play with this. So there's a private key inside the camera, and it stamps each photo with the public key. And then there's a chain of custody. So if I use content credential aware apps like Adobe's Photoshop, it will preserve the initial credential and then add modifications. And I presume Adobe has its own private key, which it adds to the chain. So that's cool, but it means nothing unless your tools then are smart about it. So that's why this is a big, big story.
And Cloudflare supports content credentials. What a content delivery network will do, at least some, is they will do something to the pictures that are transmitted. So if you have a device with a very small screen, there's a good chance that the same website that you watch on a browser, on a bigger computer, will get smaller pictures delivered. So that the content delivery network will squeeze those photos so they go through the airwaves faster than if they were the original big size photos. But which means the photos are being changed on the way, and that's a thing that many content delivery networks do. And again, 20% of the websites you look at have been going through Cloudflare servers and potentially have been mangled in some way. And that would typically mean that some of the metadata, especially the content credentials information, would disappear. And Cloudflare has now added content credentials to their CDN. So you can enable that if you're a Cloudflare customer. And not only will Cloudflare preserve these the metadata, the content credentials metadata, they will also add their own entry if they recompress the photo, for example. So you can see that photo has been shot with a camera, it has been edited in Photoshop, it has been, I don't know, somehow modified, and then it has been crunched down by Cloudflare, and you get all this information. And if that photo is then on a content credentials aware site, for example, platforms are starting to add that. So social media and so on, you will be able to verify that this photo is a photo that has been taken by a person.
And this becomes more and more important as we have so much, deep fakes and modified photos and AI generated photos. Yep. It really becomes more and more important. Yep. Nikon, Sony A9 Mark III has support for it. As I mentioned, I think I had one of the first cameras to do that, the Leica M11P. So this is exciting. I think this is something we need. It isn't universal yet, and people probably aren't much aware of it. So, I think we're still in the early stages of this. I presume that there's a button or something somewhere that you can examine a photo to see if it has credentials.
If you go to contentcredentials.org, there's a link where we can upload a photo and then it tells you what's in there.
But yes, that's
the
right.
the goal is that the platforms, the Metas, the Twitters, and so on, are going to integrate that sooner or later. So you can directly in a platform where you see these pictures, click on it and see.
Yeah, there's a little bug,
photo or not.
and you could see this at contentcredentials.org. They have a little bug.
And it even doesn't even have to be that bug.
No,
I think it can be in any shape.
Annoying on top of the photo. I'd love Flickr to support this.
I'm pretty sure sooner or later it will.
Yeah,
they'll have to, because people will want that information.
Yeah, we just need it.
Content credentials, Cloudflare supports it. It's a good important step. So it means the whole thing is being adopted on a wider scale.
Yeah, that's very good news, I think. Excellent. Oh, I'm little and you're small. You're big. Let's fix that.
Can you put me upside down? No, I'm just kidding.
Probably can. I have the power.
Next bit of news. Instagram. Meta. People are not that happy about what's going on.
No kidding. I mean, it started with their terms of service, but I think more and more people are just upset with Meta, and rightly so.
So people are looking for alternatives to Instagram, and we've talked about this here before, and it has been around for a while. PixelFed, the federated alternative to Instagram, which is very akin to Mastodon. It actually uses the same protocol.
It's even the same software. I think it's a version of Mastodon for photos, basically.
It sort of is. It has its own photo specific things, and if you have an account there, it has photo feeds, but it's like a personal feed and a local feed on the server you're on, because you can be on one of several servers. Actually, there are over 1,000 servers already.
There's Chris Marquardt. You were also on pixelfed.social.
I just followed you today.
Yeah,
I think
you did. I'm going to follow you right back there. And you can see how much it's very much like.
It is very much like Instagram. Yeah. It has likes, it has comments, it has tags, it has trends. You can have hashtags to click on and follow certain themes. But
there's no ads, which I really like.
No ads. The feeds are chronological if you want them to be. So it's not doctored in a way to get you addicted. So it's much easier to just stop scrolling if you want to.
Yeah. Very nice.
And again, it's supported by many Mastodon clients. I use Ivory, for example, on iOS and on Mac. It's very privacy focused. And since we talked last, the official PixelFed app version 1.0 has been released on iOS and on Android.
Nice.
But it's an open protocol, so there are other apps there. And that thing, especially since Zuckerberg's announcement, those servers have grown. They have had
it's really amazing, the renaissance, because I've been on PixelFed forever. And now all of a sudden it's really happening. So I'm going to have to, I don't post on Instagram either, but I think I need to start posting more on PixelFed.
I have an account on PixelFed that I use mainly for photography. I have one on a Mastodon server for social media stuff. And we're seeing a move away from the data hungry algorithmic feeds and things, which is quite refreshing. I like that.
Yeah, here's some of my posts from PixelFed. About one a year. Is how it averages. So whenever I think of it, I post there, but I should really do more.
Yeah, I've been doing more and more over the last months. And it's now out of beta, so it's really on a good trajectory.
Yeah, you can absolutely use any Mastodon client. You don't have to use their client for this.
The interesting thing is if you use the PixelFed app, the official one, you will get an onboarding screen that will allow you to choose the server to join, and those servers can be, I don't know, by topics, by category, by region. You could have maybe there's a Petaluma server that you want to join or something. So it's like Mastodon. You can join a Mastodon server that might be more specific to the things you like or more regional, and then you can follow anyone on any of the other servers because they federate. That's the cool thing about it. All right.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I need to start posting more. I'll put some stuff up there. If you want to follow me, I'm at Leo Laporte at pixelfed.social. And you're Chris Marquardt.
Chris Marquardt at pixelfed.social. We're on the same server.
Oh, it says at chaos.social.
Oh no, that's my Mastodon account.
Ah, so that's how you labeled your account. That's not actually where you are. I get it. I was confused. So yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I should be at Leo on this, but I think that I couldn't for some reason.
I'm pretty sure that's gone.
Yeah. So I'm at Leo on my own server, but yeah. Okay.
Speaking of alternatives, there are also now alternatives for short video, as in TikTok. And not just on the Fediverse. There is one that's called loops.video, which again is like TikTok. You can have an infinite scrolling timeline with videos. You can upload stuff. You can comment. You can like. But again, it's not designed to get you hooked, which TikTok does really well. And this is more like, I want to watch a few videos, and then maybe 10 minutes later, I'm like, I watched a few videos, and then you stop doing it, which is almost impossible on TikTok because they really attack those parts of your brain that are the same, that are also being attacked by cocaine and other things, right? So same mechanism going on there. But then there's this other network. You've heard of Blue Sky, and Blue Sky is another thing that is starting to now pretty soon be federated, pretty similar to the Fediverse. And there are 4 different things now going on. One is called, or used to be Tick, I think it's now Relo, a service building on their protocol, the AT protocol. There's one called Skylight. They are still in the making, so we're seeing early versions of them. One's called Blue Screen. And then Blue Sky itself has a feature so-called custom feeds, where you can have an algorithmic feed, but of your choice with the things in it that you want. And there's now a custom video feed that you can subscribe to.
This all started because Blue Sky added video. It wasn't even so very long ago that they added this capability. So
exactly, people
have been jumping on that. And you don't even have to do it outside of Blue Sky. You can just do it have a list within Blue Sky.
You can do it in there, but then if you want a visually more tailored experience for that is more similar to TikTok without the lots of text around the videos, you can use other apps, and that is really an interesting field. Lots of motion there.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. So when I do it within Blue Sky, it's really a Blue Sky post, and it's very, there's a lot of text. It looks like a Blue Sky post with video. But if you use these other apps, they just show the video, so it's much more like TikTok.
They mimic what you're kind of used to.
Because some people, like Tim Waltz, posted horizontal video. Somebody ought to explain how it works. So did the Mount St. Helens in 1980. But Harry knew. Harry Dunn did it right. Oh.
I'm for total freedom when it comes to video orientation.
You don't
People
have an
should shoot the orientation they want.
It is true though. If you're watching it on a phone and it's a full screen, it's always better to do a vertical video, because then you're aware of what can be seen and what can't be seen. Yeah, see, Taylor Lawrence knows how to do it.
Oh yes, mm-hmm.
Of course she does. There's Beto, who just decided he's going to do it square. I guess I don't know what aspect ratio this is.
Best of both worlds.
Actually, this is actually smart, because it is square, so it will work on an Instagram-like thing. But the main content is in a vertical form, so it will work even if these ears are cut off on the sides. So maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know.
Well, new media, new languages.
Yeah, we're figuring it all out.
New visual language will develop.
Yeah, good.
All right, and
the problem is, The thing about TikTok, we were all on TikTok. There's now too many choices. Oh, you're not? Okay.
I installed it. I played with it for like an hour. And then I realized if I do not uninstall it now,
trouble.
Time will be lost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's funny. I thought for a long time most people used it as a read-only medium, and I just saw a statistic that, in fact, more than half of the people who use TikTok have at least posted a little bit on it. So it's both to publish and to consume. So,
yeah, everyone, check these things out. Links will be in the show notes. Last bit of news I brought is from the film side. Kodak is cracking down on re-spooled motion picture film. So here's what the story is. If you buy, you can buy 35 millimeter film, as in little canisters with film in it, and put it in your old SLR or something and shoot. And those will typically be made by Kodak or Fuji and so on. Lots more companies are doing it now. Ilford is one. But then there's another breed of that where companies buy motion picture film, which is the same format. It's 35 millimeters. It has the same sprocket holes. And you can re-spool it into one of these little metal containers and then sell it. And it's very specific. It has a very special look. Sometimes needs to be developed in a different way. But people buy these for the look, to shoot on that material. But here's the thing. If you want to do that, you buy the motion picture film from Kodak at a certain rate, at a certain price. If you shoot a motion picture, if you shoot a Hollywood movie on film, you get a discount because, I mean, you'll buy this.
You're buying a lot,
right? You're buying a lot of that.
Hundreds of feet of this, yeah.
And for example, Reflex Lab, a company that does sell re-spooled film, claimed they were shooting a movie and then bought it at a cheaper price. And Kodak said, nope, that's not how it works. You have to buy at the more expensive price, and we're not gonna sell it to you at that price anymore. And Reflex Lab said, yep, then we'll have to stop selling re-spooled film. And there's a bit of a crackdown happening right now.
It seems like that's a kind of interesting legal gray zone. Like, possibly. If you buy film from Kodak, if you buy motion picture film from Kodak, why can't you use it as you choose and even resell it? I don't know. How are they going to stop that?
But there are others, Cinestill, for example, who do the same thing, but they are not affected because they have always paid the proper price. So,
so Kodak says, we want you to pay us for the 35 millimeter still film price for our motion picture film. Yeah. I don't know if it doesn't feel right somehow. It's the same film. It costs the same amount for Kodak to make it. Right?
I know.
It just doesn't seem right. How are they proposing to stop this? I understand their concern because it's going to cost them money.
I don't know. Maybe all Reflex Lab needs to do is find someone who shoots a movie and buys more film and then sells it to them.
They say it's intellectual property. They're protected.
It's an interesting argument, at least.
Petapixel says it's better to think of it as another metaphor, as if it were a brewery. If breweries were to sell discounted kegs of beer for events, and then somebody took it and put it in cans and sold it as individual cans, okay. I don't know. The cost must be fairly de minimis to Kodak.
I mean, Reflex Lab, which is the one company that is mentioned here most prominently, I think they got some good visibility out of that. So,
Reflex Lab says the re-spooled film market does not undermine the core business of selling motion picture and still photography film. Re-spoolers purchase bulk film from Kodak, which generates significant revenue, especially as demand for respooled film increases. Without these sales, Kodak forfeits that income entirely.
Well, I think these kind of things will happen more and more as we see the resurgence of film that we're seeing right now. It's on a growing trajectory right now. So,
have you ever shot motion picture film in your still camera?
I've shot some CineStill, and the look is nice. It's quite pricey though.
There's an easy way for Kodak to fix this, by the way. Start selling your own re-spooled film.
They don't even have to re-spool it. They just have to spool it.
Yeah. Just sell it.
The machines.
Hey, you could buy this. Then of course, they'd have to sell it at they would sell it at a higher price than Reflex. They'd be undercut by Reflex.
But do we know how Kodak is set up internally from a business point of view? Maybe they have to buy it from those who make the film. And
we don't know.
Pay the bigger
Does
price.
Kodak manufacture their own film, or somebody else make it?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Okay.
There's an amazing 3-part YouTube video by Destin of Smarter Every Day, because he went to Kodak and he shot there for days behind the scenes, and you get to see the entire process of making film from
cool.
plastic pellets being delivered that then are melted down to make the film base, from the silver being dissolved to make the silver nitrate that goes on the film, the huge machines that are now being probably not being used as much as they used to. But it's such an amazing look behind the scenes. Find that somewhere on YouTube. Smarter Everyday Kodak 3 parts. Totally worth it.
Reminder, we are going to do a Q&A segment today. If you have questions about any of these topics or anything at all for our photo expert, Chris Marquardt, tfttf.com/PTQ. And as soon as we finish the news segment, we will start answering your questions. So get your questions into us, tfttf.com/PTQ.
That was the news segment. I have a brief show and tell before we get to the Q&As.
Oh, what are you going to show us, Chris Marquardt?
Well, it's one of my favorite cameras. It's also one of my cheapest cameras. And you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. When's the last time you shot with a Holga?
Look at that. Is that Russian?
No. So Holga, again, listen to that. That's just
plastic.
Cheap pressed plastic. There's nothing very technical about this camera. It has like a shutter. It has a few distance settings. So
there's no light meter. There's no focusing.
There's no light meter.
There's nothing.
There's a bit of focusing, but just barely.
Oh, it has a focusing.
And it takes 120 medium format film.
Ooh.
And this a bit of history. This is made in Hong Kong. You can still get it. And it was originally in the early 80s, I think 82, it was designed as an inexpensive mass market camera for the Chinese working class.
Wow.
That's what it was originally made for. And then when the medium format film got slowly replaced by 35 millimeter film, then they had to search for another market outside of China. And then Western photographers discovered this camera for its weird, surreal, impressionistic photos.
This is what Wikipedia says. The Holga's low-cost construction and simple meniscus lens. I don't know what that is. I know what a meniscus is on a glass of water. I guess it's the same idea. Off with flat on one side and bowed on the other, often yields pictures that display vignetting, blur, light leaks, and other distortions. So it's not a perfect shot.
No, but that's the interesting thing about it, because it is so cheap. You can't really set anything. It's just this plastic box that doesn't do much, but all you can do is take the picture and then, oh, by the way, this is how you transport the film. You turn this wheel and it does this sound.
Oh, I love that, though.
And you get this very specific look, a lot of vignetting, soft pictures, light leaks in the camera, and those limitations have given it a bit of a cult following over the last 20, 30 years.
And the look, right? It's not just the simplicity of it, it's the look.
Go to that link, photos by David Burnett, that I put up in our notes.
These are, by the way, and Wikipedia does say many that Holga photos have won awards.
Exactly.
So,
scroll down a bit to the photo of Al Gore. Just keep scrolling a little bit.
Okay. So these are pictures. This guy.
A lot of them. This is the Holga photo.
That is incredible.
This is a photo taken with one of these plastic cameras, and it's a.
I love
really
it.
Amazing photo.
I actually love this.
You see the vignetting. You see the square format. You
see the little face in the sky. Wow. You see his hair blowing in the wind. It is a surreal, right? Is that the point, I guess?
It adds this level of, like, I don't know how you would call it. Reality to a photo. It's not surgical. It's dirty. It has its blemishes, and
Isn't
that
that
makes
wild?
it sort of real. And it also shows it's the photographer, it's not the camera. But the camera adds a very specific flavor to the photos. So Holga, you can still buy them.
What? You can get them? They make them?
$40.
40?
$40
What?
a B&H photo. Yeah.
Now shoot this with some film from a movie photo film, and you're gonna.
Film.
What are you gonna get? Something weird.
You're gonna get a visit from a Kodak lawyer.
Yeah, right. 39. Oh, wait a minute. Not just now. So they restarted the manufacture a few years ago.
Yes.
And you can also get it in white.
Yes.
I think this would be a good gift for a teenager who was just starting to get into photography.
When I got a Holga, I don't know, 20 years ago, I remembered that I think a grand aunt or someone gave me a camera when I was 12 years old, 13 years old. And it was a Holga. And I had played with medium format film, with roll film, with 13. And I did not remember, because I didn't keep the camera. I didn't really know what it was. And I shot a film and I had it developed. And then years and years later, I bought a Holga and I held it in my hand and I thought,
oh my
Wait
God,
a minute, this feels familiar.
Oh my God. Wow. So
there you go.
You do have to buy special film. It's ironically, the film might cost you more than the camera. Here's Kodak's Portra 400 color negative film, $70, but you do get a 5-pack.
No, that's
so.
Don't. Yeah, but get some cheap black and white film.
Don't get good fancy film, is what you're saying.
Get a black and white film, some Ilford HP 5 plus or something.
Do you want high ISO or low ISO, or does it matter?
I would probably take an ISO 400 film, maybe Kodak Tri-X or something.
Because you get a little grain. That's kind of nice. That's kind of juicy and
and it's not. This is absolutely not about perfection. This is about just
emotion,
shooting emotion. Yes.
Of course, then you're going to have to get a little dark room and a larger. And of course, Tri-X is easy to process. I used to process my own Tri-X. In fact, I used to buy it in bulk and spool it in little plastic spools in a bag with had two holes in it for your arms. And you would, without being able to see it, you'd put the film in the spool because you can't have any light. And then it's cheap. I got it down to about a penny a print.
Yeah, that's a bit more expensive these days, but
I bet. Yeah. It's so funny because digital is basically, it's free. You don't print it, but it's free. This is interesting. Now I'm tempted. This is the first time I've had gas so cheaply.
And by the way, roll film you can still get developed. There's still companies out there that
Ektachrome might be kind of cool in this. Do they make medium format Ektachrome?
That's a good question. I don't think they do at this point.
So that's the only thing. You have to get 120N film.
Get a roll of Kodak Tri-X or 3 rolls.
Let's see what B&H has. They have Ilford HP5, $9. That's a good price.
Okay.
How many shots is that?
That Tri-X right below it.
Yep.
There's the yellow one is Tri-X.
Tri-X is pretty cheap. It's the Portra that's expensive. You don't want Portra. You want something a little crappier.
Yeah,
Ektar.
This camera is made for black and white film. The lens is not really that good with color.
Good
film
point.
anyway,
Actually, that's a good point. The color reproduction is probably terrible.
It is. I mean, this one.
There's
the one
Ektachrome.
I have.
There's E100.
The one I have is actually an advanced model because the Holgas usually have the simple models have plastic lenses. This is the one with a glass lens.
Oh, how'd you get such a fancy one? Where'd you get that?
I don't know. Accidentally, it's the 120 GN. The G stands for glass. So
here's your Cinestill for the Holga. This is C41 800 tungsten, $15.99 for a roll. So you can use that. I think you're probably right. Stick with black and white, huh?
You've seen the Al Gore photo.
Yeah, that
Brilliant.
was incredible.
Yeah,
incredible. But you can't get Cinestill film, which is that film stock for movies.
Yeah, you want to look for a film designated 120 film.
120 film and
roll film.
And 120 roll, right? And I think you're right. I think the best would probably be either the Ilford HP5 or the Tri-X. Yeah. And it's all available. And Tri-X, I presume it's easy to find a lab that'll do Tri-X.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
It's one of the easiest films to develop.
Right. I used to do it myself. It's a simple process. Oh, I'm so tempted, Chris. So tempted. Could I take a bold photo with this stuff?
Possibly.
I bet I could.
All right, let's go to the questions.
All right. We have our questions. And again, is it
the page.
too late? Yeah. Is it too late to put new questions in? No, we can.
No, we'll use them next time.
We can refresh it exactly. So let me go to
next time.
The magic link that you sent me and see some of our questions. I'm going to have to make them a little bit bigger because that's kind of tiny.
Yes.
That's
that was not meant for the screen.
Did you design this yourself? This is cool.
No, that's an Airtable.
Oh, it's Airtable.
On a database. It's
amazing.
Just
Airtable. All right. Here we go.
Let's take them from the top. The Blue Spirit 82 sent us a question. AI seems to be the feature of smartphone photography that's getting the most attention at the moment. Do you have hopes for a specific new feature or improvement in smartphone cameras? AI is it's a really interesting topic. I think AI, we've talked about this here before, is more for utility, not necessarily for generation of photos. That's a different kind of image making. So I've been thinking of, okay, where would I put AI in a phone for photography? And one of the things I thought about is, how about context-dependent composition guides? You have these. You have the grid or something that you can put on your screen to help you compose a picture. But wouldn't it be great if you had composition guides that would know that this is a person, and then that would subtly guide you to maybe not cut off their head or place them somewhere in the photo where it's maybe a nicer composition or something. That's a feature that I could imagine would help some people to get better photography. Another one is that I've always been hoping for an architecture mode where if you shoot architecture photography, you would typically use something like a tilt shift lens to make sure your verticals are straight. That brings us back to that Bethesda picture. You have vertical lines, and in architecture photography, it's helpful if you keep them vertical, but then you need to tilt your camera back, and that might skew the lines, but the smartphones are so powerful, they could easily correct that in real time, automatically straighten that based on the gyroscopes. There are some apps that do that, but I think that could be an integrated feature in your smartphones at one point. And then just like AR overlays, stuff to like navigation stuff and so on. That uses the camera, and I'm still hoping for like a little thing in my glasses that will put an arrow on the ground telling me you have to take a right now, because I'm so bad at finding my way around. That would be my AI AR feature.
Yeah, I don't, obviously, I mean, not obviously, but I think that there's a controversy here in our little town of Petaluma, because the annual fair, the Summer County Fair, made its poster with AI, and it's very obviously AI. And there's a lot of very upset local artists who say, "Hey, we need the work. B, you could have used us and it would have been local." And I kind of think there's some merit in what they say. I don't think the best use of AI is to do art or writing or the creative process that is so human. But I think what you just described, which is using technology as an aid, as a support, is great. Brett Jones, who's been very active, and thank you, Brett, for all your input. He's in our YouTube chat. Talks about this. He just said the problem with digital is that you don't have to think about what you're doing. The benefit of digital is it's immediate, and so
it's both sides of it.
Both.
Two sides to it.
There's two sides to it. Yeah, I don't think though. I want to see there's a certain kind of creepy interestingness in AI generated art, but
it's obvious that at one point we'll have a camera, we'll hold it to our eyes or maybe look at the display, and then we tell the camera with our mouth, could I have flames in the background? Could you put a dragon in the sky behind it?
I guess
that's going to happen. And it creeps me out a bit. But that's a future we are definitely gonna have in a few years.
We're already there. The folks, they used to be Skylum. I can't remember their new name, but they make Luminar. They've for a long time had a very simple, easy to use filter that changes the sky. Because how often it's happened to me sometimes when we were in Tasmania.
Sky replacement is a thing. Yes,
it was overcast a lot, and so you didn't get the interesting skies you might have liked. So you just put in a nice blue sky with big puffy clouds. And it's almost, unless you really knew what you were looking for, you probably wouldn't notice it. I have mixed feelings.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Anyway, so AI is a thing. Next question.
Yes.
Dimelente. What are some tools? Oh yeah, you read the question.
Oh, I'll read you the question as if
you read the question.
You're hearing it for the first time.
Yes.
Dimelente says, what are some tools/tips for shooting in harsh midday sun? I guess they recently attended a convention with cosplayers, and he said, we were shooting into the sun across their face. Obviously that wasn't good, but then having them face the sun made them squint.
What do you do? This is your problem with shooting people in bright sunlight. Just don't do it. Okay, so move them into the shadow if you can. And if they are if it's not a proper photo session, just lure them there and say, "Hey, I'll take a picture of you. It's going to be really good, but we need different light."
Yeah.
Or have their back completely towards the sun, blow out the background this way, but then they won't have to squint. The squinting is really the problem.
So what you could do is change the exposure. So that they're properly exposed, then the background's going to be overly bright, exactly, blown out.
Exactly.
But at least they'll be
the face. The face is in the shadow because the sun is in the back. Makes a nice light around the hair and the shoulders because the sun shines on that. And ignore the background. It's not that important. You want a picture of that person, especially if it's cosplay and they're wearing an amazing costume. So. Or if you have to deal with the harsh sun, HDR, like a burst with a fast camera might be a thing, but then they will still be squinting because the sun is in their face.
If it's in their face, you're really out of luck.
So
unless you have a card or something that you could hold up and block the sun, I don't know.
Yeah, well, they do this in movies. They have these huge sails, white sails, and people that don't do anything but hold up sails to make sure the sun is not directly shining at the actors.
You need a 15 grips to hold up the sails.
Yeah.
But then you get that nice diffuse sunlight. See, sunlight is great, but you have to control it because it's so bright. Yeah. When I shoot, and I know there's a bright background, I don't want to clip the background if I can avoid it. So I'll kind of, I shoot so that the histogram is right up against clipping and the bright, right? So I shoot as open as I can without clipping.
Here's a situation where I took an entire group shot in bright sunlight without people squinting. And what I did was and again, we had some time, so I moved them around, and I moved them so they were standing with the back to the sun, but I was standing in front of a white wall. So they were looking at me.
And you were getting a bounce.
The white wall is a big reflector, so they were their faces were nicely illuminated. I could get some background in it as well. It was like them standing in front of a big light box.
Very nice.
Not squinting.
That's a nice idea.
So use the architecture for your advantage. The
for
stuff
a long
that's around
time,
you. Look what's bright and use that as a reflector.
Before I simplified my whole setup, I used to carry stuff with me, including a reflector. It was white on one side and gold on the other side, and you could bounce some sun into them, maybe some golden light into their eyes. And it was nice to have, but you know what? I don't want to carry a duffel bag of gear with me anymore.
Also you getting better over time because you have more experience.
Yeah,
you'll know what you'll need, what works, how it works. So experience is always gonna be your ally.
Basically, I carry one camera with one lens nowadays, and but what that means is there's only a certain kind of shot I can take. But then I focus on that.
Well, then that's your style.
Yeah.
Dictated by the gear.
I might move to a Holga though. That would be.
Yes. I mean, listen to that sound. That's
wow.
Okay,
Dustin
one more question.
asks if you're seeing a revival of interest in film photography. I mean, based on your book and the conversations we've been having on this show, I think there must be.
We're seeing a big revival. We have several new film cameras on the market, like newly made. We talked about this here a month or two ago. The Fujifilm and film also includes things like Instax. So Instax is still over 50% of Fujifilm's income.
Isn't that interesting?
They're still.
I guess that's film photography. I mean, it's like Polaroid, right? But it is. It's a physical medium. And
it's not a revival of interest in young people. It's more like they didn't grow up with it. So for them, it's a new thing. They grew up with smartphones that take surgically perfect photos with HDR, so you don't blow out the windows when you take a picture inside. And a lot of them are fed up with that perfection. And holding a one-of-a-kind analog photo in your hand is revolutionary. It's like, wow, that immediately increases the perceived value of your photography by 1,000, because it's like, this is the one thing you can't infinitely recreate that or copy, and it doesn't live in a cloud. It lives in your hand, and that changes everything. So there is it's not a revival. It's a new interest. It's a new interest into something
good way of putting it.
That they haven't grown up with. They might have, like, their parents or grandparents might have some shoe boxes with photos, but that will probably have been the only exposure to that kind of photography for many of them. So it's a new thing to discover. It's not an old thing to discover.
And I will give you a plug.
Book that helps you.
There's a book, The Film Photography Handbook, Rediscovering Photography in 35 millimeter medium and large format, by Chris Marquardt and his partner, Monica Andre. That is a great book, which I'm very proud to own, with lots of examples and images. The nice thing about Chris's books is he always has lots of images in his book that are just
you need
gorgeous.
to show what you're talking about. So photography in there. There's like photography of like art that Monica and I made, but there's also explanations and pictures off cameras, and And
love that shot. Look at that.
And process pictures. You will learn how to develop film in the book.
Some beautiful stuff in here. Beautiful stuff. Here's something called orthopanchromatic film. Look at that. And what the hell?
There's you learn about the different kinds of film, the different types of film. There's
really good.
It's a good start, and it's
Rocky Nook,
and it's now on its third version. We've updated it twice since.
I think this is probably the first edition.
So,
I think
it's the first.
Best thing would be to go to discoverthetopfloor.com, and that's where you'll find a link to all of Chris's books, his workshops. Do you have any room in the Eastern European auto tour?
Just today, I talked to someone who might take 2 seats. There is a chance that there will be one spot left open in early May when we take our tour to Transylvania from Berlin.
Fun.
Or actually, from Transylvania to Berlin. That's the tour from down there in Romania, Budapest to Vienna to Prague to Dresden and to Berlin with like beautiful landscapes, historic cities, Baroque architecture, and good food. Great food. 10 days.
Even better beer, I would bet.
Good beer. In the Czech Republic for sure.
Yeah.
Small group, very flexible, and about a 2 to 3 hour drive during the midday. And then it's like a cruise, a bit like a cruise. You'll see a lot of different places in a short time. And
very fun.
I'm making sure that you get to see good places and take good photos. There's image reviews and like it's a workshop tour mixture.
Great way to learn. And you know, I have to say, having done this now a couple of times, not with Chris, unfortunately, someday with Chris, traveling around with professional photographers is incredible. Even just a photo walk. We had such a great photo walk with Joe in New York City. With other photographers getting, looking at stuff. It's just a wonderful collaborative process. And I highly recommend it if you've not done it. A reminder, our assignment this month is bold. Take your bold photos. I promise, take some bold photos, okay? And upload them to Flickr. Tag them TG Bold. And then submit it to the Tech Guy group. Our moderator, Renee Silverman. Here, I'm going to practice. Both eyes open. Our moderator, Renee Silverman. Well, look at the Holga. Smile for the Holga.
There's our thumbnail.
I think we got our thumbnail. This is a fun thing we do with the club every month. One of a number of fun things we do with the club. If you're not a Club TWiT member, please join the club. You can watch this live as many of you are doing. And when we do the show live, you can watch on YouTube and Twitch and X and TikTok and Facebook and LinkedIn and Kick. But you don't get to watch it after the fact. If you're in the club, it's on the TWiT Plus feed. And there's so much more. And it helps us so much. And you know what? It's pretty affordable. It costs you even less than a Holga camera, $7 a month, and you get a lot of benefits, including ad-free versions of our shows. twit.tv/Club TWiT. And I'm sorry for you Club TWiT members who had to see this. Maybe I should just use this opportunity to thank you. You are wonderful. We really appreciate you. You help make this possible. And a special thanks, of course, to our great friend, Chris Marquardt. It's always a pleasure to see you. I'm so glad we could continue to do this. We started it in 2006.
I have to thank you for having me. This is so much fun doing this year.
18 years we've been taking pictures together. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Chris Marquardt, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you in a month. Again, if you go to the Flickr group, we'll post as soon as we set a date, which is probably in the next couple of days. We'll post that date. It'll be roughly 4 weeks from right now. Take care, everybody. Good night. Auf Wiedersehen. Guten Abend.
Moin, moin.
Moin, moin. Bye-bye.